Hello, chess family. It's me, National Master Jesse James, and today we're going over 2023 Turkey Shoe, where Alexander Mista, Grandmaster, took first place, just wiping out the competition with a straight 5-0 score. Mista is a very strong chess player, obviously, but very, very aggressive. Here we're going to be taking a look at highlights in his games. In the first game, we see with, I hope I pronounce this correctly, Chipotle. He's playing with the white side, and well, you know, Mista never really backs down from a fight. Here we go with white. He goes ahead and plays pawn to d4. Makes sense. He's controlling the center and looking to play pawn to d5 over here. And Mista does not back down from fights. He goes ahead and plays pawn to d5 here. Okay, here pawn to c4 got played. You know things are going to get crazy now, and that's exactly what happens. Here he goes ahead and plays d takes on e4. And it looks like white is just as crazy as he is. He goes ahead and plays pawn to d5. Things are getting crazy in the center here. Unfortunately for him, Mista does get the better of this. He goes ahead and takes on f3. Pawn takes over here on d7, on c6. Pawn takes back. Bishop takes on c6, attacking the rook. And like I said, Mista is gonna sacrifice. He just has to do it. So here he goes ahead and plays pawn takes on g2. This is so alluring for him. Here you can see that the white king is now getting messed up over here. I mean, the pawn structure over here is just gone. Well, white couldn't help it. They went ahead and took. Queen takes on a8. I mean, I definitely like this position myself. And, you know, just knowing how Mista is, it's not very surprising that he went in for this at all. Queen to d3 got played. Pawn to a4, kicking the knight. I mean, here you can see the queenside pieces are very inactive, so it doesn't take too long for Mista just to get that winning position. Knight back to d2, knight to c5. Look how active this knight is, getting a free tempo off the queen. Queen over to g3 and pawn to e4. I really like this move as it helps to play knight to d3 here, and this is going to be a great outpost and definitely a very strong piece in the game. Here, white went ahead and played pawn to b4. Of course, you could en passant here, but then this might be looking to open up the rook over here. So, Mista did not like this at all, so he goes ahead and plays knight to d3. I mean, that's exactly where the knight wanted to go to anyways. And here, knight takes on e4, and unfortunately, this is just losing right off the bat. It's black to move. What do you do in this position? Feel free to push pause if you want to. All right, you know Mista's going to have those tactical outbursts, and here he goes. Bishop takes on f2 check over here. Okay, don't you just take back with the knight over here? You do, but now the rook is going to be left unprotected. Here we go, knight takes on e1, and now even a bigger threat is knight to f3 check. The game ends pretty fast here. Bishop b2, knight f3 check, king takes on g2, knight g5 check. You can see all these weak squares around the king. King back to g1, bishop takes on c4. Not just winning a pawn here, but opening up the rook here. Again, penetration is just in the air now. Bishop takes on g7 here. Well, I guess this is just one of those sacrifices you do just because you're kind of scared in this position. King takes, queen to c3 check, forking the bishop. Here we did not realize you can actually not take this bishop. And here, pawn to f6 just gets played. Here, white just runs the queen back to g3. Here you're wondering, hey, can't we just take over here? You can, but here you're going to get checkmated or lose the queen. After this, knight to f3 check gets played. And where it doesn't really matter where the king goes, there's just going to be all these different types of skewers and discoveries against the queen. For instance, if it goes king to f1, knight d2 check just wins the queen. Okay, what if we go g2? Again, knight over to d2 check and get played. Although the computer finds a very nice checkmate with knight to e1 check. And it doesn't really matter where the king goes. King g3, queen g2 check, king to h4, and look at this beautiful mate, queen to g5 over here. So here, after queen g3, Mista's just up an extra piece here and was able to convert the win quite easily. All right, the second game up here was against a very strong national master, Jesse James Lozano. Yes, that's right, I actually got to play the second game in this tournament against Mista, the eventual winner. As you can see, the opening went I won't say great for me. At this point, he's already +1 in this position. Now, I did get some very good counterattack here, but he was able to just stave it off and then just keep playing for the win. At this point, he just played queen f3, threatening bishop takes on c6, and I'm having a hard time getting my pieces out. As you can see here, I can't move so easily because b7 is falling, and, well, these bishops do look a little bit menacing here. So what did I play in this position? Here I went ahead and got a little bit aggressive in this accelerated dragon. I played bishop to e6. An interesting idea that tries to, well, bring out my pieces and make threats. And here he went ahead and did not take. Instead, he went ahead and played rook to d1, which was pretty much what I was expecting. If you ever play against Mista, you just know he loves the activity. Again, he's going to look for some kind of sacrifice at some point if he can. And we'll take a quick look here. If you do play bishop on takes on e6, which is technically the best move, here I get a little activity, which is, I think, the reason why he didn't want to do this. So after bishop takes, pawn takes, here my rook gets opened up. Here the queen goes to g4, and here I had envisioned playing something like queen to d5. A very nice central square here, and it kind of indirectly defends, this pawn on b7 here. If rook takes on b7, there's ideas like knight to e5 to get played over here. And if you play knight takes over here, you can play queen takes on b7, but queen takes on e6 check gets played. So the game does get very crazy here. But like I said, he didn't go into this, unfortunately for me. He went ahead and played rook after d1. And here I thought, well, I was just going to be able to trade down to endgame. I went ahead and took on d5 here. And I thought if he would take on d5 here with the queen, yep, actually the computer says it too, the game is just about equal here. I'll go and exchange off, rook takes on d5, and just play pawn to b6 here. And black is holding here, he even has a little bit better of a pawn structure, but it's still a chess game. Here, of course, Misa did not do this. He went ahead and played for the attack. Rook takes on d5. And here this puzzled me because I saw I could play queen to h4. And here I just had a very nice double attack. I'm attacking on h2, but also the unprotected knight. And here he went ahead and played pawn to g4. Apparently this was actually a mouse slip, or because it was over the board, just a blunderful move. Here he had expected to play pawn to g3 when he realized that the knight was hanging. Well, that would have been great for me. Here the strongest move to play was actually knight to d6, which is what I was expecting. And here I was just going to make a trade. Bishop takes, rook takes, and the game's almost about equal here. But like I said, he went ahead and played g4 here, and unfortunately for me, the game is not just over yet. Of course, you guys are looking at bishop takes and queen takes h2. Here, although I get to win the pawn, the computer still says this is about equal. Here, I went ahead and played rook a to d8. The idea was to, well, try and trade off a pair of these rooks over here. I didn't want this to get too active over here. h2 will fall at some point, but there won't be really too much attack as the queen is guarding over here. Rook takes on b7 got played, and this definitely perplexed me. I didn't think he could play here, so I went ahead and played bishop takes h2 check, and he played the correct move, king to g2. Okay, rook takes on d5, queen takes on d5, and knight back to d8. Again, at this point, the game is pretty much equal, but after some inaccurate play for me, he's able to find that win. Here we go, rook to d7, attacking the knight. Knight to e6, definitely looking at knight f4, checking ideas over here. Queen to f3, bishop back to b8. Knight d2, knight g5, and here it didn't take him long. He goes ahead and takes here. All right, queen takes on g5. That knight was definitely one of my favorite pieces, and now that I lost him, I'm just, it's just going to be a hard position. Here he sets up a very nice idea, and I don't really last too long. Knight e4, queen e5, g5, and this was the idea that I really missed. Here the idea is the knight's going to go to f6 check, and, well, he's actually going to set up another very strong idea, which we'll get to in a moment. Here I play queen h2 check, king f1, queen back to e5, c4. Here now I have to worry about a passed pawn running down the board. Queen to e6, queen to d3, a6, trying just to defend my pawn. I wanted to bring the bishop over here to e5, but here I missed the idea. The winning idea was knight f6 check, king g7, and here it is, rook to d5. Here the idea was, well, I want to play bishop e5 here and just get rid of this knight, and then, well, the game's almost about equal. But by playing rook to d5 here, he stopped me completely. Here, I can't play bishop e5 as well. Knight to d7 gets played for just a simple fork. And this one move just kills it. After this, I didn't really have any good retort to this. I went ahead and just played h6, and he killed me with the idea of queen c3. Now the knight's going to move around here. It's just a +3 position. At this point, I was very low on time, so I just went ahead and resigned. A very nice win here from him. All right, on to our third game, and this one he's playing International Master Almeida, and as you can see here, the position is getting quite crazy. At this point, White went ahead and played knight to h4 here, going for the attack. All right, Mista went ahead and found the best move in the position. Can you find it? It's black to move and win. All right, hopefully you push pause, try to figure it out. Here, Mista found the beautiful knight takes on c3 exclam. Here, forking the queen and also saying, well, if you do take over here, you're just going to get easily checkmated. Bishop a3 check, king to c2, and queen to b2 mate. As you could probably guess, Almeida was not too happy with this. After knight takes on c3, the game ends pretty fast over here. Queen to f3, of course, we're not going to take. We're going to go ahead and move our queen. And here, Mista's just mean. He takes on a2 check here. All right, the king goes to b1. Notice king does not go back to c2, as the bishop would now be unprotected after the simple knight to b4 check. And I can guess most of you guys do not want to play this king to c3 here. Again, just losing in this position. So, the king went to b1, knight c3 check, king c2, knight takes, bishop takes on f5. I mean, here, I At this point, Almeida is just trying to create any kind of disturbance or any kind of tricks in this position. Of course, this is just lost now. And, well, Misa does a very good job converting this to the full win. Queen takes on b2 check. King takes. Bishop to b4. Now threatening the checkmate. Knight to f1. Pawn to g6 here, kicking the bishop. This bishop is very important for the defense against this king. Okay, knight takes on g6. It's pretty much forced. Pawn takes, bishop takes check. King to d8. I remember walking by and looking at this position and just being really just like, whoa, what is going on in this position? It is -9, believe it or not. Which I guess is not too crazy, just because, well, you do have to be careful with the checks around here. But this king is actually the one that's in more trouble than this one over here, especially because we have the dark square bishop. And the dark squares is what white would need to control to win this game. You can see he has the light square bishop to control light squares, but no dark squares over here for him. Queen f6 check, king c7. Yep, he's just willing to walk away. And pawn to h3. Yes, at this point, taking the rook here would just get you checkmated. Here, rook f8 got played. Queen to e5 check. King over to b6. This king is not scared. Pawn to f4. And game over here, queen to g2. At this point, white went ahead and just gave up as here. Well, I don't see anywhere good for this rook to move to. All right, next game over here. We're on round number 4. This is Perez. And here we see that white was playing into a very, very crazy dragon variation here. And so white and black are both at it over here. And here, well, again, you know Misa's not going to back down. He went ahead and played pawn to f4, saying, you're more than welcome to play knight c4 here. I'm just going to go ahead and take the piece. And, well, black went for it. I mean, why wouldn't you? He goes ahead and plays knight to c4 here. Okay, here we go. Game on. Pawn takes, king over to a1. Here, this does look very scary as this bishop is just eyeing over here. But Misa is not one to be trifled with, and he's able to defend this quite easily. Queen b6, looking for checkmate on b2. Rook over to b1. Let's try to make some trades over here. Queen c5, eyeing this d5 pawn. Rook takes, rook over to b1. The more trades, the better for him. Rook takes, queen to a3. And here, just a simple move, pawn to c3. At this point, the game is pretty much over. The game ends pretty fast here. Pawn to e5, trying to open up the position still. Pawn takes, bishop takes, queen b2, saying, yes, let's please trade queens, but also looking at this back rank. Of course, black did not want to. He played queen c5, and now the game finishes. Queen check, king over, bishop to h6 check, king over to f6. Notice here it is actually a forced mate at this point. If king takes on h6, here just simple chess, we're going to go queen f8 check, bishop g7 with a nice g5 checkmate. So, king f6 instead got played, and now just simple checkmate in 1. Do you see it? Here, Misa just goes ahead and plays queen to d8 for mate. All right, in this last round, this was Oscar Zhang versus Misa with the black pieces, and this is very cool. This game starts off as a Ruy Lopez, and if you know Misa, like I said, he's going to go for that attack. He actually transposes this, or turns it into a King's Indian defense as black. And, well, poor young Oscar was just not able to handle it. And this is really, really cool how the game transpires. I do want to say one thing. At this point, Misa had 4 points, and a draw would have secured him first place. So, Alex went ahead and offered young Oscar a draw here. And I'm so impressed with Oscar. He went ahead and said no to the Grandmaster and said, you know what? Keep playing. I'm here to take it on. He lost the game, but this is the mindset that you want if you want to become a strong chess player. You got to play those tough games. If that was me, I would have shook his hand so fast and said, yes, it's probably a draw here. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at this game. Here, pawn to f5 got played. Again, we're transposing now into a King's Indian defense. Black is going to be pushing all these pawns forward and just going for that kingside attack. Right up Mista's alley. All right, pawn c4, pawn f4, attacking the knight. Knight back to f1. You can see things definitely went wrong. Here, typically, white, at least when they play King's Indian defense, is trying to go queenside over here. You can see that black has already many threats and is able to push through. G5, pawn b4. G4, knight back to d2. Again, this is all consistent with the plan. Knight f7, the knight's heading over here to g5 here. You can sense that f3, g3, ideas are in the air. Rook c1 got played. c5 is coming, but it's just too slow here. Here we go, queen h4, c5, knight to g5. You can see how these pieces are just working so well together. Pawn to f3 got played, and, well, here's a nice move, rook to f7. Yes, you can try to look about moves about pawn to g3 here, but with this knight over here, yeah, it's defending very well. This move on rook f7 is actually very basic to a lot of these King's Indian defenses. It has ideas about bishop f8 to slide the rook over to the g file, or h file in some cases, or maybe even just doubling up the rooks here. So, rook f7, queen e2, Bishop to f8. Again, standard idea here. Pawn to c6. Here, white is finally able to crush through, but at what cost? Here, black's attack is already pretty much finished. Pawn takes, bishop e6. Pawn to a4, rook to g7. Again, the rook is down the g file now. Bishop c4, trying to make some trades to alleviate all this pain. Rook e8, pawn b5, pawn takes on f3. Knight takes on f3, and now it is game over here. Knight takes on f3 check. Okay, why is this losing? Here, white is actually losing a piece now. Do you see it? After queen takes on f3, black to move and win. What do you play here to win a piece? Simple chess. Here, look for the double attack or the piece that's overloaded right here. Here, you just simply play bishop takes on c4 here. What's this do? Here, well, this rook was overloaded. It's trying to defend the bishop, but also defend the rook. As you can see, the queen was just eyeing it. So after this, rook takes, queen takes, the game is just about over. He did play quite a few more moves, but, well, again, this is just the highlights of the games. All right, guys, hope you enjoyed this. This was Turkey Shoot in San Antonio, Texas, 2023. We will see you in 2024. All right, we'll see you in the next game.